Interactive, boring, profitable. There are definitely a variety of different opinions about the value of elite chest runs when we reach the end game. VannKraken here, and in a Tournament Academy episode 5, we'll cover all the deets and break down exactly what we gained from running the very first World Tour with our fresh level 60 character, to see whether or not they're worth the time spent. By their inherent design, elite points of interest are very challenging and generally not intended for solo play. And because they contain a variety of riches that can help our character build up wealth, gear, and expertise, these iconic locations draw player-driven groups of 5 to 50 or more to quest within them on so-called elite chest runs or world tours. In our 5 things to do as a fresh level 60 guide, we recommended hitting the trading post for a gear upgrade and to tour the map to unlock all the fast travel points in towns near the elite points of interest that are a focal point of endgame activities. With both of these objectives completed for our character, we just have to drop by a storage locker to lighten our bags and grab a weapon we want to level, in our case a bow, and some blight tinctures that will come in handy when we encounter the angry earth. And that's it. That's all we really need to get ready to jump into our first elite chest run or world tour. We'll be visiting the 7 most challenging level 55 plus areas on the original map of Eternum in a full run. These points include Imperial Palace and Ebonscale Reach, Mangled Heights and Great Cleave, Scorched Mines and Murkguard and Shattered Mountain, Malevolence in Eden Grove, and Eternal Pools and Siren Stand in Reekwater. Throughout the day, or possibly at a scheduled time depending on the server, we'll simply watch for advertisements in either the global chat or recruitment chat channel for ECRs or WTs to form, and fast travel as close as we can to the starting point or next location up to go along. When you answer the call and reach the starting location of the run you'd like to join, make sure to use the area or recruitment channels in chat to X up, so you can be invited to a 5-player group or start your own if you prefer. Playing on a team does not require any social interaction or added stress, but it will improve your ability to both earn more weapon and territory experience and gain valuable loot drops like obsidian gypsum, unique gear items, and collectibles. Once you've successfully found a group, toss a coin to your local bard to take advantage of a music buff for territory standing or gathering luck, or just play a song yourself. And finally, respect the run organizer by being patient and not leaving before the starting announcement hits the chat. Elite chest runs are a pretty simple concept and consist mainly of keeping up with the group, killing mobs and bosses, and collecting as much stuff as you can cram into your bags from the many kinds of chests scattered throughout the landscape. Every run is going to offer a bunch of easy-to-access, low-hanging chests containing tons of useful consumables that are ripe for the picking. These small caches, generally labeled as supply crates, are filled with every kind of crafting consumable you could need. You will rarely, if ever, have to spend gold on any of the main refining mats if you just collect them from chest runs on a somewhat regular basis. Smaller chests and random mobs may also drop a variety of desirable craft mods, including items like iron battle metals that are always in demand at prices of 50 to 70 gold each on the trading post. So don't toss these items until you've determined their sale value, and definitely hang on to them if you intend to pursue any of the crafting professions. Alchemy-themed chests contain items like motes and potions, including infused health, regeneration, and mana pots that are great for PvP that will also drop randomly from the mobs as well. And finally, provisions crates offer up a shopping list full of useful recipes and cooking ingredients rated up to tier 5 to whip up fancy cuisine like attribute foods that you can use in Outpost Rush, Wars, or Expeditions. Chests vary by point of interest and range and quality, with the next step up being larger supply stockpiles, which offer lesser weapons and armor pieces and have a chance to drop collectibles, including some very rare and valuable items. RNGesus may choose to reward us for our worthy behavior with crafting gear, housing items, furniture schematics, trophy components like loaded dice, and hard-to-find music sheets that are fun to use or lucrative to sell. Find an ultra-rare collector's item like goldfish in a porcelain bowl or a Canarios music sheet, for instance, and we just might have pocketed an extra 100,000 plus coin per item. We don't want to keep these goods for ourselves. It's an awesome way to build our bank account. But to be honest, everything we've covered so far is really just icing on the cake, as highly prized elite chests are why we are on this run in the first place. Each of these treasure hoards holds a lot more and better items than any of the smaller chests and is guarded by a variety of mobs and at least one boss. Being on a run with a smaller number of players and or playing in a group that does a lot of damage to these bosses gives us a higher chance of getting awesome loot drops from the boss itself before we even open the chest that they are guarding. High-level open-world boss drops can be farmed for special crafting gear, named weapons and armor, and obsidian gypsum that can be used to make gypsum casts. So we need to make sure to look underneath their corpses for the special bags containing these unique items, even if we didn't directly deal damage to them ourselves, but our group mates did. As a general rule, just make sure to try to check out or grab all of the loot bags lying on the ground so you don't miss out on anything valuable. And while every point of interest we visit on an ECR has bosses and elite chests, Murkguard is special in that it has high-level major corrupted breaches within it that reveal additional elite chests after they are cleared. The breach itself also offers the typical bonus of amethyst gypsum and reward caches that contain both bags of gold and high-value gear. Again, you really want to be in a group and try to get in some damage on the mobs at each breach to be eligible for these extra drops. When it comes to the boss drops and the elite chests themselves, we can get tons of great loot, including the special items we already covered. But the bigger prize for character progression is getting weapons and armor pieces that can build our expertise and our gear sets. If we open a chest that drops a gear item with a higher rating than the current expertise level of the slot in our inventory screen, we'll get a pop-up notification about the bump, including what kind of gear it is and how many expertise points we gain. The amount of drops per run will vary with RNG, so don't get disappointed with a stop that only gives one bump, because the very next one might be a bonanza of 5 or more. On a typical world tour with a newer endgame character, we'll receive about 15 to 20 expertise bumps combined over the course of 7 stops, a pace of progression that feels really great. Getting better drops helps us build a better character stats-wise, and as we progress through a run, we'll also start to see the weight in our bags build up with a large number of items, gear, and consumables. We can quickly manage our gear in between stops by opening our inventory screen while we are running from one point to another, such as the run from Mines to Merc and Shattered Mountain. However, most stops will require us to fast travel across the map, and jumping to our inn set point or even better to one of our houses in between stops allows us to quickly drop off stuff in our storage chest and move on to the next spot in the rotation so we don't get left behind. Dedicating a specific locker for dumping gear from chest runs makes the sorting process after the fact a lot easier too, by not mixing it up with other stuff we know we want to keep. The easy part is to go ahead and immediately scrap all the gray, green, and blue items for a bit of gold and the chance at a perfect salvage or two. But hold on to the purple epic, orange legendary, and named blue items for now to see if they can be slotted or listed on the trading post, making sure to place a lock on the most valuable ones to prevent accidental salvage as we sift through the haul. In this particular run, we got 3 usable item upgrades that fit our Dexcom build, one for each of our jewelry slots, and grabbed a named spear and a void gauntlet that will definitely see some future use too. Beyond the actual enjoyment, or not, of the chest run itself depending on your point of view, let's take a minute to break down what we gained from a resource and character perspective for an investment of a couple hours of our time. We looted a lot of refining reagents, pots, useful gems, food, and craft mods. The 6 iron battle medals and 4 iron guardsman insignia alone are valued at well over 500 gold at current market prices. We also got 500 more coins and bag drops from the corrupted breaches, grabbed the 5 pieces of usable combat gear that we already mentioned, and were lucky enough to find a pair of armor shoes and a chef's shirt worth a combined 14,000 gold on the trading post. In addition, if we choose to take the time to sort out the better pieces, we can list a lot of the spare epics on the TP from this run, which could realistically net an additional 500 to 750 gold after trading tax and fees if we want to take the time to list them. All in all, we brought home at least 15,500 gold value in coin, consumables, and collectibles, though our results will definitely vary on future runs. But the biggest bang for our buck from elite chest runs is getting a few pieces of better gear we can use and accumulating a sizable bump in our expertise and resulting gear score from doing the run. With our fresh level 60 character, we rang up a total of 22 expertise bumps, 18 from gear drops, 3 from corrupted breach caches gained in Merkard, and 1 from the 3 obsidian gypsum that various bosses dropped along the way. This boosts our overall character expertise from 516 to 524, a full 8 points. So what's the verdict? While spamming expeditions like Genesis and Lazarus is a perfectly viable way to get gear drops and expertise bumps fast when you reach level 60, we don't have to deal with any potentially unpleasant pug group dynamics when doing elite chest runs. And yes, they may be boring and tedious for some players, and not every tour group you join is created equal, but ECRs are a casual and relaxed way to invest your time, even as a solo player, that offer both a rewarding amount of gear score progression and useful resources when you can block out a few hours to take part. By doing a full tour once a day, we could raise our gear score from 500 to 550 in less than a week, which will make our character more viable and enjoyable to play in both expeditions, including tougher ones like Tempest Heart, or in open world or organized PvP. And we can continue to do full chest runs or even just a few stops, long after our gear score has reached the highest levels, to keep reaping the benefits of weapon mastery XP, territory standing XP, and all of the gold, gypsum, gear drops, consumables, and rare items that await. Finally, don't forget that if you get bored with the original routes, you can join a brand new world tour circuit that visits points of interest scattered across the giant Brimstone Sands territory too. I hope we've convinced you that elite chest runs are at least worth trying, and can be a valuable activity to pursue in a balanced diet of endgame content, and this goes double for players who would rather pursue the game in a solo fashion and not stress about joining expedition groups. While you are here, check out our video in the corner above to find out about 5 things you should do immediately as a fresh level 60 if you just arrived, or to get prepared for the endgame if you haven't quite reached it yet. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, or to join us for a live stream here on YouTube or on Twitch. I thank you for watching Eternum Academy and hope you find fun and rewarding ways to grow your character in the endgame. This is VannKraken, and I am out.